dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every night, or every weeknight at midnight Eastern. That's 9 p.m. Pacific. We'll run for about an hour each night. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We schedule those on Monday, or we plan them out on Monday. So if you'd like to help part of the creation of the show, join us then. We run it on YouTube. We simulcast it. We simulcast it on gunchannels.com, where I was just watching Cycle Camp say something that was funny on the live comments. So we do appreciate everybody that joins the show live. Once it's over, we'll take the best of audio and we'll post it on iTunes as a podcast. The video will render over on YouTube. We'll have it over on Gun Channels until tomorrow or the next day when we post the new video. So we appreciate everybody that watches the shows afterwards as well, especially those that take the effort to leave us some feedback, comment on the video, give us a thumbs up or a like or whatever the platform uses as an indicator that you appreciate the show. And then if you subscribe to us on those various platforms, all those interactions, let us know you're out there. So as human beings, it's encouraging to keep doing the show every single day. But as people who are trying to get numbers up and see more audience, we do appreciate that, because that should allow our show to be recommended to more listeners. It's also empowering as you use the internet. Don't consider yourself just an audience. You have the ability to indicate what you think is important, and then that influences what is put out there as recommended videos for other people. So with all that in mind, we have a bunch of people that join us every day and hosts, and we're just 2 of us today, the original host, me and Bob. So thanks, Bob, for jumping in from Canada.
No problem.
I'm down here in Tucson, and I guess we can get going. So nice and efficient when it's just me and Bob. Uh-oh, looks like Jimmy's coming. Spoke too soon. But we do have a bunch of hosts. Maybe some of the others will jump in. Jimmy's about to jump in here from Fahonex, I think. So it's episode 515. It's Friday, so we'll be talking about gun tech. We like to, tidy up the gun business, the industry every week, keep it on track. And then we talk about alternative gun topics. So we got some interesting ones of those today. Anything been going on in your neck of the woods worth talking about before we get going, or while we're waiting for Jimmy to jump in here?
Kind of local newsy stuff, Canada news, but nothing. Haven't really heard anything else going on other than all the shit's going on down your end.
Today's the anniversary at Iwo Jima. We usually talk about history at some point, but since that's a good one, we'll mention that right at the beginning. Thanks to the Marines keeping us all free.
I've seen lots of documentaries on it, and I've read lots of books on Iwo Jima, and yeah, it was a hell of a fight.
I'm telling you, that's got to be Charlie's tail hitting. Sounds like somebody's chopping wood in the background. If I listen to it, you don't really hear it, but once you hear it, you hear it.
I don't hear it.
Oh, come on. I know everybody hears it now. So, otherwise you're rocking really fast in a rocking chair or something. Okay, so then we'll dig into the show. Maybe Jimmy is jumping in. Maybe he's not. All right, so gun tech, Illuminated Reticles. Where are we going with that one? Do you have any Illuminated Reticles?
Yeah, I got like the aim point type thingy and Ecotech type thingy. None of the actual brands, of course, because I'm cheap. But yeah, same things that work the same. And, they're okay.
Yeah, whatever. You say they're okay because why? They broke on you?
No, I just don't like them as much. I just find the dots are too big. I'd rather use sights, iron sights. I find they can be more accurate with them.
Well, now we're kind of talking about 2 different things. When I think illuminated reticles, I think magnified optics, right? Optical enhancement.
These aren't magnified. I just don't like the
well, that's what I'm saying. A red dot, I don't consider that an illuminated reticle, even though it is technically illuminated, because it isn't an optic. It's not a magnified enhancement. It's a holographic thing. It's designed to have both eyes open and hit things that are moving.
Yeah, so you're talking more just, you got a regular scope and the lines are lit up instead of being, regular. I don't know. I've never tried one, so I can't really say.
You've never tried just an optic with an illuminated reticle?
No, no,
Some of the Soviet stuff was famous for having that back in the day before we really had it commonly.
no. I've never had any Soviet optics.
Oh, okay. Well, I figure you guys get different stuff up there because of your import laws. You might have seen some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy them. Like they cost more than the SVT-40 up here. It's $700 for the that type
Well, it
of.
was pretty good stuff for the day, and wasn't exactly obtainable. Yeah, so it sounds like it was pretty much like that up there, like it was down here.
Oh yeah, yeah. But like I know that Bush Nolan, place like that, Nikon, they sell them, but I've just never used one, so I don't tend to shoot light.
They're okay for mist or fog maybe, or I don't know if they'd be good in snow or not. I've never actually used them in snow, but I mean they are decent for some things. But from my experience, at least the ones people I know that have owned them, so I've never owned one either, is they break. They bought cheap ones and you get what you pay for type of thing. But got Jimmy jumping in now. Let's see if anybody out there has had any experience with them. So Jimmy jumping in, we're talking illuminated reticles.
Jumpin' Jimmy.
Hey, sorry I'm late. What are we talking? Jumping Jimmy James. What are we talking illuminated reticles necessarily? Are we talking in different types? Like, are we going through like a German #1 dot and a post duplex and all them different things, mil dot and that kind of stuff? Or are we just saying if they're good or bad?
We're just seeing if anybody owns them, had any experience with them. Is I guess how we started with here.
Well, I don't own any. I have had experience with mil dot and gotten a headache when like some of the math was explained to me, but I have had experience with them and they're pretty. I think they're neat. And I guess if you go, are we just talking about like magnified illuminated reticles, or are we talking like red dots too? Because those are pretty neat. I've had some experience with those on rifles.
Bob brought up too, but I personally don't consider them the same thing at all.
Yeah, see, that's not a reticle. It's a dot. So yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. But yeah, what I have had experience with though, it's pretty neat. I think the father-in-law, I can't remember what he had. I know it had posts on it, but I can't remember what the actual reticle on it was. But his was illuminated. They're pretty neat.
When Midnight saying when he sees the illuminated reticles, they're usually the cheaper ones. And that's what I'm seeing too, right?
I've seen it too. The one that I've seen that was actually my brother-in-law's buddies. That one was, I think that was some pretty high quality glass there. I'm not too keen on the different kinds of scopes, but
so yeah. Noah's saying that he's got a couple I don't know, iOS or something, and then US Optics. I know that company, so I don't know if that other one is the company iOS or Valid Data, but he's got a couple, and they require a battery or something usually. I guess it's possible there might be some out there that use like True Glow and a tritium vial. Probably on the.
If there is, I haven't had any experience with them. I'm sure there is though.
All right. Well, I don't know what else we're going to say. Basically, though, all it is they're throwing the light up onto the reticle so that you can see it. It makes a little different contrast. Usually, you can turn it on or off. And sometimes again, if it's foggy or dark or something, it can be useful to have your reticle illuminated, I guess is the concept.
Yeah, and if I could add in there real quick too, the one thing that I've noticed is that people that say that there's like no difference between like the green and the red, or if you go like budget or expense, there's huge difference. So if you are going to go and get some glass and like have for a purpose, I wouldn't cheap out necessarily, and I would do my research. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I just don't have an opinion on them. I've never used one.
There you go, in depth. But no, it's saying it's IOR. I think I've heard of that before. And saying a good glass. And I guess, yeah, we've You're welcome. That's Illuminated Reticles for you. So, yeah, if there's something else we didn't hit on or you want to take that in an actual direction, then feel free. That's what it's all about here, is to start conversations. So let us know in the comments. Maybe we can address it again. We're obviously not experts on it, but if you want to grab some kernel of that and run with it in your own podcast or your own videos or photography series or something, that's what it's all about. So I guess we can move into the gun biz.
Yeah, but we want to talk about somebody from gun channels. We try to do every day. Today it's Stealth Hunter 100 or 1000. Sorry, kind of made him cheaper. So Stealth Hunter 1000. I'm not that familiar with him. Is he new?
So at least I was wondering. I'm always curious to see how Bob's going to rip on the guy. So at least this guy's safe because Bob doesn't know him, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll just stick to new guys from now on.
So
For now.
Is one of the members over on Gun Channels. I think the way I picked him this week was just whoever was in the lobby whenever I was scheduling out the show. I think it was in the evening one day. So I know I've seen the name around and seen him in the chat. I don't think I've seen him in a live chat though.
Yeah, he's been in Knives chats before for sure, and I believe others, but I know he's been in Knives. But yeah, good dude.
Noah's saying is
another welcome addition.
Just to add on to Illuminated Reticle, since he's got some experience with them, he says if you have a crappy scope, an Illuminated Reticle is asking for failure, and if it's not great glass, they can be blurry. So I think that's what Bob's kind of alluding to there. If you're trying to actually be real accurate, it just becomes a hindrance, right? To have a bunch of light in your way.
If someone shoots good glass and shoots cheap glass, they'll see the difference immediately.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we do have people coming up for next week's member of the day. But if anybody ever wants to suggest anything, feel free. It's always, and the idea here is to keep it an open conversation and keep everybody involved as a collaboration. So if you want to suggest people for members of the day, maybe you have a whole week's worth of people as some kind of a theme, then let us know. So I guess we're moving into gun biz, taking friends to gun shows as an introduction to guns. So I guess the idea would be, instead of taking them to a gun show, to the range, or I don't know what else you do, just hanging out and looking at guns, you take them to a gun show. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, but you got to be careful. I mean, you have to. I don't know how to go about saying this. It could be overwhelming. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I mean, yeah, it could be overwhelming. I don't know if that's a good introduction necessarily to guns, but I mean, if they have a little bit of experience and they are interested in maybe, I don't know, not necessarily if they've purchased a gun before and they already own a gun or something like that, and maybe they're going to get their second gun or something. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. Give them some experience, that kind of stuff.
I know what you're saying as far as being overwhelming, and I think a range can be overwhelming to some people too. So I'm going to say it's going to be up to the person, right? But I think the right person who might be way more into collecting or just, some other aspect of shooting necessarily than, just literally going out and shooting recreationally, then that might be the kind of person that could enjoy a gun show as an introduction.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that for sure.
I think it's an interesting way to introduce them to the culture of guns, but it could be a bit overwhelming for some people. I agree with that.
Well, I know I was into guns for like 5 years before I went to my first actual gun show, and I made the mistake of going to that small arms review show, and yeah, that's where I learned my first lesson. Don't go in there and buy everything that you see immediately.
You went back to the country because the city was too much for you?
Yeah, pretty much. And into debt a little bit, but. But But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting to go to your first gun show for sure. Like if we, I mean, I know that's not the topic, but yeah, that could probably be a whole nother topic.
We're simulcasting on Instagrams, and Smeggy's saying he's not joining in tonight to have a good show.
Well, thank you.
Let's see. So Cycle is the one that came up with this concept, and he says, to clarify it, I thought the variety of stuff going on at a gun show might be more attractive to a non-shooting people. And that's what I'm thinking too. I definitely can think of a couple of people who are not into guns who I know, right? But there's no way I'm taking them to the range. They would just not enjoy it, right? So I think a gun show might be interesting to them.
Like as in like and I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, like a carnival kind of idea. Like, oh, look at the, the cool stuff they have over here, that kind of deal.
No, I just think at a gun show without any noise and just familiar. It's like a swap meet or something, just that kind of familiar atmosphere and concept. You could just walk around showing them a bunch of history and a bunch of variety, and the guns aren't in any kind of, if somebody was apprehensive, they went to a range, they're not necessarily going to look at all the different guns on the range. They're going to be all scared and worried about what's going on and
jumping every time a pop goes off.
Yeah, so at a gun show it's going to be a lot less of that, and then they'd see so many more guns, right? And it's pick them up, look at them, look at all the stuff that goes along with them. It's hard to think that gun owners are a bunch of weirdos who are just into AR-15s and death or something. You go to a gun show and you see all the boring cowboy stuff, and then all the crazy target gun stuff. Yeah, exactly. Once somebody sees that there's a lot more into it than just whatever they think it is, that's where I think a gun show might be interesting to somebody who's not a gun person yet.
At least, yeah, a lot less traumatizing in that aspect, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and they get to see that it's not all this fancy tactical stuff. It's
exactly, yeah.
Free and then there's also jewelry and there's all kinds of other shit at gun shows these days.
That pain cream, whatever that was, that worked good, and that was at a gun show. So I mean, yeah.
I didn't think it worked that good, but yeah.
It didn't last long. That was my problem with it. But anyway,
all over my shoulders didn't help much.
But yeah, I mean, you're right though. There is a bunch of neat stuff there, and there's a bunch of someone that is a good point that you made earlier, G Webs, because someone that's not into guns can walk around a gun show and there's so much like off the wall kind of stuff that they could find something that interests them. Like, oh snap, what is this? And then all of a sudden they're in the cowboy single action shooting and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And the people too. You go to a range, and again, unless you're familiar with the procedure, you're just real comfortable with adapting to new places. You take somebody new to a range, they're probably just going to hang on your elbow and be real, not really communicate. Where the gun show, you're literally talking to every single person in the aisles, in the behind the tables. So you've got a lot more potential to just meet all kinds of different shooters, right? Different people that are into guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Patriot saying a good place to pick up a good chick. And I've been going to gun shows for a long time. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
I know what you mean, but yeah, there's a lot of them. It's busy, busy, busy.
Well, I guess that's that topic. We're moving on. So, what do we want to hit next?
Let's talk about the movie of the day. Now, are we talking the original one or the remake?
Well, the original one's a TV show. So every day we try to come up with a movie that has something to do with guns and maybe something you haven't seen in a while, or if you're young and something you ain't seen yet. Well, we got Wild Wild Wesson here today. So
I guess a movie then, right? The movie.
I guess so. The movie from 1999, Will Smith and that other guy.
Yeah, funny guy.
And I mean, I really like the TV show, and then I consider this ruining it. What about you guys?
I would have to second that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it, and yeah, it kind of had the spirit of it, but the characters were just not. Will Smith did not play the James Garner character very well.
Not James Garner.
Was it?
That's Maverick.
Yeah.
Or somebody else, but
I thought no. Well, you're right.
Maverick. Maybe it's Maverick. But anyway, it's that other guy. It's no, it's not William Shatner either. Conrad.
Yeah, William Conrad. You sure? Mm.
That's what Cycle Camp said. It's William Conrad.
Oh no, it's a Have Gun Will Travel with was James Gardner.
No.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, it was they played the character so differently that it did kind of ruin the TV series in a way. So yeah.
So anyway, so we all seen this movie?
Oh, unfortunately, I have.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not even going to give it a. I'll give it. I'm not going to give it thumbs down, but I'm going to give it thumbs sideways.
I'm giving it a one thumbs down. I won't give it 2. I'll give it 1.
1 thumbs down?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to give it none then. I was almost debating giving it 1, but Jimmy's super negative vote made me think twice, and I'm not even going to give it a thumb. I mean, I'll watch it. I've seen it a couple of times, and it's still as goofy as it ever was. Doesn't it have Salma Hayek or something in it?
Yeah.
Meh. Yeah.
Well, just saying. And it's also got a bunch of weird steampunk stuff before steampunk was cool, so it's kind of weird. And they spent all kinds of money on it, so it's visually interesting, but it's not visually good, and it's not storyline good.
Yeah. Yeah. The actors weren't great. The story wasn't great.
I would got to tell you, like, the main guy was not the main guy from the TV show, and then whoever that other guy is, Klein, is the worst character I've ever seen in a movie, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Kevin Kline. Yeah.
They like completely stomped on the show, and that's probably why I hate that movie with such a passion, is because of the fact that I used to like that show. So yeah,
Then that's the other thing, yeah, because that would make somebody go, "I'm never going to watch that show because that movie sucks so bad." But
no, why would I want to watch that piece of history?
Giant, weird, old-fashioned future robots and some high run around in cowboy clothes. And this was way before the other movies, right?
And they had Nazis too. Nazis and the Confederates were together.
I forgot about the Nazis.
Yeah, no, they were Nazis. They were Nazis before they were Nazis, you know?
But even after all that talking about it, I'm still not giving it any thumbs. Cycle Campus saying it's good with a few beers.
Well, good with a few beers.
It's like I say, maybe worth watching it if there's nothing else on.
Yeah, if you're having a few beers while it's playing at your house and you're at a bar, that's fine. That's good for that.
All right. So with that, I think we'll move along, and we're not going to get sponsored by whoever made that.
No Wild Wild West sponsors.
So I guess today we're doing a gun of the day, and this will be the last thing I have to screen share, I think. So this is a picture of a old 38, a 13-2. No, I guess it's 357. 13-2. So it's a 4-inch Smith, and I guess it's back from the day. So this thing was, I looked up when it was built somewhere, but it's got a pinned barrel, so I'm guessing it's fairly old, and its original price was $176. So it had to be a while ago. Anyway, they got that into the shop one time, and I grabbed that picture of it with all its original paperwork and stuff. I thought it was a cool picture.
Dang, that's neat. Now, it was sold for $176 back in the day, or that's what it sold for today, or whenever?
I don't know, $700-800 gun. Maybe
yeah,
more.
that's what I was going to say. I would say the price had to raise on that a little bit, eh?
Yeah, this is just the price tag that was with it from back in the original, whenever it was first made. And
so, I got you. Okay.
So whoever had it, bought it, stuck it in the box in that like wax or that oil paper that's underneath of everything, and then had all their original paperwork in there. And then however many years later, somebody brought it into the Tucson Guns and sold it to them, and then they had it. So they had all the original stuff from back in the day like that from that first gun shop.
Wow.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah, you don't see that stuff too often. And it's always neat to get an old gun with all its original paperwork like that, because then you see exactly what it was like, except for the age. You know, it's just exactly like it was back in the day. I'm guessing, this probably 80s, just looking at the paperwork and stuff, and the gun, and the price.
You can see that the way that manual is like printed out and stuff like that in the corner. Yeah, kind of. Could be early 80s.
Yeah, that is
looked it up, and for some reason I'm thinking 80s. But anyway, I like to post that picture every once in a while. And of course, a bunch of people think it costs $176 now. But yeah, you'd make quite a bit of money, I think, if you bought that for $176 today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, long growth period though. You think about it when he bought it probably in the 80s and then, put it away, and then now 30 years later it's worth probably not that much more than it would be just with cost of living and dollar value and everything else. I mean, take a dollar from the 80s and what's it worth in 2017, right? Worth a lot more than a dollar.
Oh, you're saying like what was that? That wasn't like a casual purchase back then?
Probably not. No, $200 in the 80s, that wasn't cheap. I mean, you got to remember.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it could have been like maybe it might have been a service revolver too, because it didn't look like it had too much use. I don't know.
So it says, according to the calculator here, $176 in 1980, and it might be different if I went to a different year, I imagine. So I'll try a different year. But in 1980, it was $565 today.
Yeah, so you figure if he had bought that thing, say in the 70s or 60s even, right? Because
listen to this. If it was $176 in 1985, it's only worth $412 today. So 1980 money is worth more than 1985 money.
Yeah. We'll see what 1965 money would be worth.
Well, I'm going to do 1989 real quick. 1989, it's only worth $360. I guess it's also newer. So 1960 when? 9?
65, say.
I think that gun's newer than that, though. But yeah, in $176 in 1965 is worth almost $1,400 today.
Yeah, so
almost 10 times the money from 1965.
That's some real profit there. But
well, I mean, even if it's from even
market and all that time, it's a long time to be in the stock market.
You just invested it at 3% interest, you'd get more than that.
Well, and plus you'd reinvest, right? So you'd take some of your money that you'd made and reinvest it, and then be making money on that. Where the gun is just sitting there. But on the other hand, we don't know what that gun sold for.
True.
I'm guessing it sold for more than $500, right?
Oh, it had to have. I mean, it's an older Smith. It's got a pin barrel, no Hillary hole. I mean, of course, yeah, it had to. That adds value to it.
All right, so that was our gun of the day. I'm trying to read the comments, and it's cool to see so many people chatting on the YouTube side. It's scrolling by. What do we got? The gun shop of the day. I didn't put one in this week or today because every day we feature one. But I figured every once in a while it's good to look back, right? So today I put in here, what's your favorite gun shop? So from the whatever time frame, we've only done 515 shows. So of the last 515 shows, which is your favorite gun shop? And we'll go out and look at the comments, and people can chime in with whatever one they thought was cool. And I guess we can just keep going, and we can come back. There's going to be some lag, and it's going to take people a minute to type it in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
I know one of my favorites, though, is still going to have to be that Dragon Man. The museum, it killed it. I mean, that's it. That has to still be my favorite.
I could see that being the number one. You got a favorite, Bob? He doesn't like gun shows that much, or gun shops that much.
Yeah, I do, but it's like Saskatoon Gunsmiths. It's my favorite little mom and pop shop, which we featured years ago, I guess, way back when we were just starting out.
Cycle is saying the one from Vegas. Wonder which one he's talking about.
Yeah, the one from Vegas.
Yeah, there was a ton of them.
Patriots Dragon Man, along with Jimmy. And I'm trying to think. You know that since we're talking about it, do you remember the one in Texas? Texas Guns is underneath a big tree. Me and Edge went there. It's in San Antonio, and there was an old guy, and he was saying how he was selling. Well, I guess he sold the place, and now it's being sold, and all the inventory is 20% off, and nobody bought the business, so it's just going to be sold as a building and the inventory, and the range is going to be, it's already closed.
Wow, that's sad. Another one gone, man.
Midnight is saying Coles because it has a crazy story and he bought his AK there.
Bannerman was pretty well. That's military surplus, but
that's gonna make me take the Terminator gun shop one because that has a cool story too, and been there. All right, well, so I guess that's our gun shop today. If anybody else wants to throw in their favorite shop, feel free. We'll try to mention it here, but we'll keep moving on through the schedule. And then I guess I'll take us into full auto conversion books. We'll get this channel banned. We're talking about
What are we going to talk about?
The books that are information on how to turn a firearm from some other type of operation into full auto.
Oh, yeah. You can get those in the library. Oh, you can look them up online nowadays, I guess.
I don't know about the library. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen them in a library.
No, I have. Maybe we have different libraries. Maybe we have more free libraries in Canada. We don't try to stifle information. You just can't say anything bad about certain religions.
Or there you went, all the way from full auto books to religion.
Just say.
Like one of them Kirby slides. You don't know where it's coming out, but it's coming out at full speed.
Yeah.
So
head first.
What?
But
just jumps on the slide head first. I know what he's saying.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, those books. I mean, they're pretty neat. I don't know. I've read a couple of books that were something like that. Some of them
really,
were decent.
I mean, there's firearms books. I mean, if you read a book on firearms, they will basically, they might not say it, but they're going to explain how to make it go full auto. I mean, that's not that complicated. Anyone can look inside a gun and go, oh, I just have to do that. So, or most guns anyway. So it's not a big deal. I don't know why people think it's such a big deal, but it's illegal, so we don't do it. Right?
Well, it's illegal to do the conversion. It's not illegal to own the books.
No,
it's not illegal to have the knowledge.
Most of the books were written. Most of the books I'm thinking of, the little pamphlet type things, were written pre-86 when you could, just put in a Form 1 and convert any semi-auto into a full auto if you wanted, or make your own full auto from parts or scratch. And you would just go through the paperwork like you do now with an SBR, and you'd get your tax stamp back and you'd follow through and you'd make your gun. So a lot of those guns were made, or those books were made to legally convert guns. So if you got something like a 1022 or an AR and you already bought it, you don't want to have to buy a whole nother one, assuming it was still 86 and you could just go to the store and buy a full auto version. They made it, but I don't think they ever made a full auto 1022. So if somebody wanted to build one of those, you kind of needed to buy a book like that on how to do the conversion.
That's true. Yeah. And like say, I mean, all you had to do was get the form and you could do it. And it's really odd that criminals weren't doing that and causing mayhem in the streets with their full auto
available. They're pretty simple. It's not real difficult. You can improvise all different ways. Some of the books get into the improvised ways, but yeah, criminals don't bother because it's not effective. But I think it's important to remember that they're out there. Gun shows, of course, are one of our big things that we emphasize, and that's one of the places that you can find books like that. I don't know if Bob's crazy or not, but I certainly haven't seen them in a library. Rarely do I see them in gun shops. That's a whole pile of stuff that a gun shop doesn't want to deal with. I guess I've maybe seen them in we have a school here, so we have a really big used bookshop. And I probably have seen them there over the years occasionally when somebody will sell them as a used book and, they'll have them in the inventory, but it's not something they stock or anything. So I think gun shows are important for that kind of knowledge. And it's super critical knowledge, Red Dawn type of stuff or whatever you want to say shit hits the fan. You need to be aware of things like that so that if it's necessary, it's a tool in your toolbox, right?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, and another thing, just to add on to that's pretty cool at the gun shows because they'll have vintage stuff. They'll have like really older stuff, and I don't know. I think that's pretty neat just to read, to see that. I get a history kind of stuff out of it. I guess I don't know.
For sure. So we're not seeing much conversation about it. A little bit on the YouTube side. Let's see. They sound interesting, but I don't see them ever being relevant again. I don't know if he's talking about.
I think he's talking about books. But yeah, I mean, it's like, well, all books are relevant. I mean,
yeah, gotta have the book. internet's neat and everything, but all it takes is an EMP in the right place, right? The wrong guy running over the wrong hub somewhere, and you have internet down for a while.
Yeah.
Definitely like having hard copies of stuff.
Yeah, I still have lots of books. I mean, that was one of my favorite things. I had in my old house. I had 16 feet of bookshelves that went up to the ceiling that were full. You know. Unfortunately, with a camper, you can't really carry that many books.
Well, another reason gun shows are important, because hopefully you took all that stuff to a gun show, or at least got filtered to a gun show at some point, and somebody who does have the bookshelves empty is looking for them, found them, and has them.
Yeah, no, that never happened.
I just burned them. We got 36 people watching. So appreciate it.
I left them with the ex-wife. She can deal with getting a ton and a half of books all the way.
So we've got 36 people watching. We appreciate that. Thanks for joining us live and participating. The people that are participating over on the in the chats on the 2 different places we got them. We got 20 thumbs up, so we appreciate that. That's all our topics. We got some history. We talked about Iwo Jima today. It's also 223 day, February 23rd, so that makes it 223 day for all the people that well, yesterday was, I guess, depending on where you are. Go for gun day.
Go for round day.
1836. Today in 1836, some 3,000 Mexicans launch an assault on the Alamo with its 182 Texan defenders. So it looks like the Alamo started today. I like how they just say 3,000 Mexicans. You think it'd be more appropriate to say Mexican soldiers or something?
Yeah.
Just like
sounds like a whole bunch of Mexicans just stormed the fort, you know?
Yeah, they just all got pissed.
They got free for fajitas.
In 1895, the Cuban War of Independence began. Let's see.
1885. Wow. Is that when we kicked their butts and took over their country?
Cuban War of Independence? No, it's probably when, I don't know what happened.
Probably, yeah, went independent from Spain, and then American corporations took over.
This says in 1914, Civil War soldier Joshua Chamberlain dies. 1914, so that, I guess, the significance there is that might have been the last Civil War soldier.
Could have been, yeah.
'72, Hanoi negotiators walk out of the peace talks in Paris to protest the U.S. air raids on North Vietnam. There's always those interesting, like, or those little insights to Vietnam and stuff. I just don't know the wars enough to know which ones are the big ones, unless it's an obvious big one like Iwo Jima. Well, it looks like today in 1885, Chester Nimitz, U.S. Admiral, commanded the naval forces in the Pacific during World War II, was born. He was born in 1885. So, well, I think we've all heard of the Nimitz before.
Mm-hmm. So you think about it, like most of the guys who fought in World War II, I mean, they're born in the 20s. Yeah. Like, think about it, they weren't that far removed. Like, their fathers could have been gunfighters in the Old West, you know.
Clover saying it really was just a bunch of Mexicans. That's why it took so long. But I thought it was the movie. It's a bunch of troops, and dude has more reinforcements show up, and they're all in formation.
Yeah, you know, they were troops. It was a military force led by General Santa Anna. There may have been some militia joining in just because they went, we're going to kick these guys' ass. Look at how many of us there are.
All right, so anything else tonight? That was episode 515. I gotta grab my ink. Is this happening?
I didn't even feel the breeze, man. And next thing I know, I'm having to take cover.
Yeah, I felt like shooting, so I did. Everybody knows what that sound means. Time to crack them knuckles, whip out them keyboards, and get ready for the Daily Tactical Pop Quiz. Today, we will be wanting to find out what model Glock has a rotating barrel. What model Glock has a rotating barrel? I'm watching gun channels.
Okay, I got YouTube.
I guess I'm watching Instagram. Nobody ever says anything on Instagram.
Come on, Instagram, step it up.
That's 17. Oh, got one steadily.
Got
Steadily.
Clover over here. Got Gizzard over here. Wait, what? Bob? I didn't hear you.
Steadily had it.
Oh.
First.
All right. Well, then congratulations, Steadily. I guess you got it first.
Steadily? I think that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Yeah, seconds behind Clover Tech, and seconds behind Clover Tech was Gizzard.
So we've got
Way to go, Steadily.
We got the link out there if he wants to grab a patch off the panel. You guys watching?
What do you want, Steadily? What do you want?
This is the dead air time.
What do you want? What do you mean he'll never be imported?
So then
We don't have to import them. We make them here. Well, we make them in Arizona.
This is Friday, so we're going to be off for a couple of days. Probably do a gear chat tomorrow. We haven't did one last week, and we'll see if people are interested in doing that on Saturdays. Got the van chat on Sunday. Got some other shows coming up between now and our show on Monday, which will be 5/16. And we'll start off the week. We'll schedule out the show. We'll talk about a little bit behind the scenes. Get the week off. Wait.
Yeah.
We'll get the week started off, right?
Started off and ended off right.
Okay, we got. He's got a pick. Did you get it?
NAA revolver patch. We got it. So use the form on the website there. That'll let us know the address. And yeah, we just sent out a bunch of stuff today. We'll send some more stuff out soon.
Very, very cool. Yeah.
And
So
Steadily's done a hat trick, right? That's 3 in a row.
Is it? Dang it. See, that's why I hate sending stuff out, because I know eventually they're going to win again. Now I'm going to spend the 7 cents on an envelope. So Cycle's asking if rate-increasing devices are banned, will the tactical pop quiz be over? But I don't think so. Jimmy uses belt-fed full auto for that, don't you?
Yeah. And when I bump fire, I just use my finger anyway. So
yeah, and they haven't got to the point where they're going to cut our fingers off yet, just because we can bump fire with our finger. Hey, is that called finger banging then?
All right. So yeah, we do have some shows coming on this weekend. We got Caliber Corner tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern with Travis P11. Then Rick is doing Rick's Life as I See It at 3 Eastern. You said you're going to probably be doing that chat in between that time, maybe, possibly,
potentially. Yep. See if anybody's around.
Then we're clearing the chamber with Tardot and Gunpowder Beauty. Then of course the infamous Smeggy and Moon show. Sunday we got Trigger Time with Matt. Never Enough Ammo, 10:30 Eastern. Then Jelsma Outdoors. Gun Gals is coming on at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Midnight Range, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and then a van chat at 11 Eastern. And then start your week off right with the early watch.
Yeah, the early watch.
Yeah, that was dramatic.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up early today. Hey, that's pretty good. All right.
Voltaire.
Yeah. Voltaire. Yes, we are going to wrap it up with our quote. It's Voltaire again, just because. But before that, I want to thank everybody for listening. But you know what? If you thumbs up, yes, make sure to subscribe to Day the Gun Show. We need more subscribers there. While you're in the subscribing mood, subscribe to me, subscribe to Jimmy. Well, most people are subscribed to G anyway. Let's see, what else did I have to say? I think that's about it. Oh, support us on Patreon if you can. Woo! This and that. I got excited. So anyway, our quote is by Voltaire again. And it's a good one. It's kind of relevant for this 24-hour news cycle we're on. In the case of news, we should always wait for the sacrament of confirmation. So, as we can see this week, we've learned a lot about waiting to hear the whole story, and lots for us to talk about in the regular chats. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. We'll see you all on Monday.